3 words, 7 syllables, exploding barbed wire death match.
Before I jump into all of that, I was so excited a couple weeks back when the announcement was made, and that is the exploding barbed wire death match. Seriously, I was a big fan of FMW back in the day, and the fact that you're bringing this match back, what brought that decision on, and why are you bringing such a historic matchup to Revolution on Sunday?
The first person who asked me about it was Kenny Omega, and he asked me about it a really long time ago. And I thought it was a good idea, and I slotted it in for Revolution. It was like, he was right. It's something nobody had done, and I thought it was the same as you. I like those matches a lot, and people are still talking about those 25 years later, and they're great matches. Nobody's done anything quite like it on American pay-per-view, especially big companies, and we thought it would be a great thing to try. And at the time Kenny brought it up to me, it wasn't necessarily the situation present day at that point wasn't right for doing an exploding barbed wire death match. But at this point with Kenny and John, I think it's time. The stakes have been raised as high as they can go. And it's a very, very different type of world title match on pay-per-view than most of them. It's not typical, but I'm really excited for it. And I think it's got huge buzz. And on Sunday, I think it's going to be a really big pay-per-view for us.
Tony Khan sounds excited. I mean, I would be pretty excited too if I could pay a couple people to blow themselves up and bleed all over the fucking place. No, this is interesting. I know there's a lot of wrestling purists out there, and a lot of people that just fancy themselves wrestling purists because they hear wrestling purists on the internet and they want to sound cool. So they want to be like, I don't want to see a barbed wire death match. Meh. But for those of you who have actually seen a barbed, now I'm an old school juggalo. Don't tell anybody that because I don't want that to get around. But I'm an old school juggalo back in the day, in the high school days and shit, with the clowns and the face paint and stuff. And one of the things that was big about the clowns is they were wrestling fans. And this was before they were even in WWE and WCW. They were wrestling fans. And they did a DVD, VHS even at the time, I think, called Stranglemania, which was a bunch of Japanese death matches overdubbed by their ridiculous commentary. And they covered all of these Onita exploding barbed wire death matches. They were on this tape, and I was watching this shit. And then you go back and you watch. I had a friend whose brother was a tape collector, and he had the actual like King of the Deathmatch tournament on tape that Mick Foley won, and Terry Funk was the runner-up on. And when you watch these matches, these are exciting matches. They're not just blood and guts. They are blood and guts. There are a lot of blood and guts, but they're not just blood and guts. There's an element of anticipation. I don't know. There's just something. To me, it's a spectacle. Wrestling is wrestling. Tony Khan's not going to book a match like this. Now, I fully would expect Moxley to have a barbed wire exploding death match on anybody's show, regardless of whether it was safe or not. But what I'm getting at here is I don't think they're going to put this match together with the idea of let's just go out there and die. I think they're going out there to work the gimmick, as the Young Rock would say, right? They're going out there to work the gimmick of the barbed wire death match. Yes, they're going to bleed. Yes, they're going to explode and blow up and die and stuff, but it's going to be in a working way, I think. I think it's going to be fairly safe. I think it's going to be creatively done. I think it's going to be intense. I think it's going to be one of those on the edge of your seat things, because the thing with the exploding ring is you never know when somebody's going to blow up and what that's going to look like. And in the case of Mick Foley from wrestling in Japan, you can actually have like nasty burns and shit all over yourself that can scar you for life. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be nice and safe. I think they're going to have prop guys and not special effects, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Stunt people, coordinators, movie stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be done as safely as it can possibly be done, but this is This is uncharted territory. Even ECW, probably because they just couldn't really afford to do it properly without buying cheap shit and actually killing somebody. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was an exploding barbed wire death match in ECW that I'm just not aware of. But to my belief, I don't think I remember any kind of explosions in ECW. This will be the first, to my knowledge, exploding barbed wire death match in the United States. And it's for a major promotion on national TV. It won't be on national TV, but the promotion's on national TV. And this is between two megastars. Two omega stars, if you will, baby. So this is one hell of a match. It's going to be a spectacle. It's not going to be your 5-star mat classic by any stretch. Don't fucking go into this thinking that that's what you're going to get. And don't be mad because that's not what you're going to get. There's all these douchebags out there that are so like, they become indignant about wrestling. You know, like I listen to Wade Keller's podcast, and I used to subscribe to The Torch and listen to all their shit. And they just become increasingly bitchier and negative and complainy. And, oh, I didn't like this in the wrestling match because these guys could have got hurt for real. I didn't like Tully Blanchard wrestling because he's so old, he could get hurt. These are fucking wrestlers in a professional wrestling ring. Fuck off with that shit. First of all, you're not a wrestler. You don't know anything, okay? These guys are tough guys in a tough guy business, and they know how to work. Tully Blanchard, if you watch what he was doing in the ring there, and I know I'm off on a tangent right now, but just fucking go with me. If you were watching Tully Blanchard, he looked old and slow and all that shit, but he was also probably the best worker in that ring still. He was right there with Dax and fucking Harwood for sure. Or Dax and Wheeler or whatever the fuck Cash. Shut up. Doesn't matter. FTR. Tully Blanchard could work circles around fucking the dinosaur guy. And Marco. This is a business designed for tough guys to do tough guy shit. So don't get on your fucking high horse. Go, I don't want to see tough guys hurt each other. I think they took a big risk when they did that bump off the top rope and they did the... You don't even know what you're talking about. You're regurgitating bullshit that you hear from bullshit people on the internet who, in Wade, I love Wade. I love Wade Keller. Huge fan, but he's become increasingly I don't even know the word for it. He's like becoming an old grandma or something. Like, to get worried about guys like the Stinger when Sting got powerbombed. Oh my God, Sting got power. I just don't need to see that. Fuck off. You don't think Sting knows what he can handle? You don't think Brian Cage can take care of him? These are professional wrestlers. These aren't fragile-ass old men. Even if they are fragile-ass old men, they're tough guy fragile-ass old men. They'll kick your fucking ass. So this whole idea about where people get indignant and I don't want to see this in a wrestling. Like, people, you're allowed to like your shit. I'm not saying that if you don't like barbed wire exploding death matches, you're wrong. Because you're not. You're allowed to like your type of wrestling. What I'm getting mad at is the people that get indignant about it. You can say, it's not for me. I don't really care to see that. But when you start taking the stance of, this is not safe, this is not professional, I do not want to see this in 2020, I don't need to see guys blowing up, you guys don't need to get hurt. Fuck off with all of that, okay? These guys can do anything that they want to do. They're trained professionals. They're going to do it in the most professional way that they possibly can with the least amount of risk. And you guys are just being a bunch of Sallys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. You're all being a bunch of Sallys about this kind of shit. Let wrestlers be wrestlers. Let Tully Blanchard get in the ring. Because you know what? He's a tough guy. And he'll kick your fucking ass right now if you step on his lawn. It doesn't matter if he's an old man. Let Sting get powerbombed. The dude's been wrestling for fucking 30 years. Just because Seth Rollins fucked him up doesn't mean that he's a fucking cripple and can't fucking work a lick anymore. The dude can take a power bomb. the dude can't get fucking whiplashed into the buckle bomb. And WWE banned the buckle bomb, by the way, which is a smart move. Some moves just don't need to be done. And I know I'm kind of contradicting myself. I don't need to see guys get hurt. Some moves are just too risky. And I think a buckle bomb, because you can't see where you're going, and the guy throwing you can't really see exactly where he's putting you either. And the move doesn't even look that impressive. So it's like, what's the fucking point, right? Work smart, not hard. Don't kill people. But at the same time, these are tough guys in a tough guy business who've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And I think people, along with this whole fucking woke culture and this whole just cancel culture and just all of that mentality going into everything, I think the heart is in the right place. But I think there's also a lot of people that just want to sound, they're looking for their soapbox, right? They want it's like wrestling virtue signaling. And I think there's too much of that. There's too much of that in the punditry. And you know what? I'm bringing it back. I'm going to bring back a little attitude because it needs to be done. And let these guys blow each other up and bleed all over the place. It'll be fun. It's fun. It's good times. You don't need to like it. I'm not trying to tell you to like it. I'm trying to tell you to shut the fuck up about being indignant about it. Because you have no place to be indignant about what wrestlers choose to want to do in a wrestling ring sanctioned by a professional wrestling company. This isn't a backyard match. This isn't a bunch of fucks playing with fucking rusty shit from the alleyway or something. This is a professional show. So just fuck off with it. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.